This is so nice. Can't cope. I might be about to do the driving test centre that will top every single leaderboard. I've been in Northern Ireland for 1 week now, researching what it's like to learn to drive here, to take a driving test here, and what it's like to drive here once you've passed. The rules are quite different. And there's one place that everybody talks about and says it's the absolute dream of driving test centres. I'm in Larne. I'm going to drive a real driving test route that takes me along the coastal road. Of course, I don't know the actual driving test routes here in Northern Ireland, so I've teamed up with Richard from Room Driving School, who's given me access to all of the driving test routes. Link is in the description if you want to get access to them too. Shall we set off? I think this is going to be a great route. I'm really excited about this one. Literally every learner driver, nearly every learner driver, and every single driving instructor I've spoken to a lot now has raved about Larne. Not that it's easy, but it's the most picturesque route that you'll ever do, like straight away. Oh my God. I've chosen this route because A, it's got the tricky stuff in Larne, if we can even call it tricky, and B, we've got something special coming up. We've got something special to round off the test route, and if all of the other driving instructors that I've spoken to about Larne are correct, this is going to be every other driving test centre I've ever been to, that I've ever been to. If I'm on my driving test now, the first 5 minutes are always nerve-wracking. The first 5 minutes of any driving test are nerve-wracking. That's not to worry you. You've just met the examiner. It's a stranger sitting in your passenger seat. And they're watching your driving. They're literally holding your driving license in their hands. Went into second gear there because I was actually rolling. And it's a downhill, just to give that smoother gear change. Once you ask them a couple of questions, or once they ask you a couple of questions, you realise they're just another human. And then it's easy. And then you're like, okay, this person's on my side. This person wants me to pass. This person's not a mean ogre. I don't know why we think of driving examiners to be scary human individuals, but they're not. They're really, really not. Continuing on in towards the town centre. I'm so excited for Larne. I'm so excited. Okay, what's coming up next? Obviously, I've never driven this route before. I don't know what's coming up. If you're driving this route, you will have been here before. You will know what's coming up. You'll know what to do. You will have practiced this extensively, hopefully. Don't take driving tests where you don't know what's coming up. That's silly. So we're turning right at the traffic lights. One mirror signal. Don't do that. What that car's doing in front of us, don't do that. That's wild. It's absolutely wild. There's a yellow box there so that people coming out of the community hub can crack on and they don't have to wait for a gap in traffic. That's an instant fail. But one thing I really love about Northern Ireland, your roads are so switched on. Your roads are so efficient. I haven't seen one faded road marking. And if you can show me a pothole in Northern Ireland, I'll give you £1 million. That's not a real offer. There's got to be one somewhere. But if you drive around England, like pothole central, it's pothole central. Driving around here is a dream. The roads are so smooth. The markings are so clear. This is a great place to learn if you're learning to drive. Trust me, England could never. Wow, look, they just turned down a road that said no entry. We're not the police, we don't mind. We're going to turn left at the end of the road, mirror signal. Coming up to the end of these roads, I've said this before on the last one, Newton Ards. But what's really important here is you're checking left and right to see the traffic, to see the pattern of the traffic before you get to the giveaway line so that you can go if there's nothing to stop for. Okay, town centre bit, that's not too tricky. Trust me, I'm from London, I know tricky town centres. Tricky town centres are my bag. That's not a tricky one. There's only one exit I can take off this roundabout because the turning left bit was no entry, but I'm still going to signal because I'm using the roundabout properly. Looks like I'm turning right on the next roundabout, so I'm going to stick in the right lane. I can see the roundabout isn't far. If you're with an examiner, they'll tell you nice and early where to be, especially if it's really busy. If this road is congested, they'll tell you nice and early to give you as much time as possible to get into the right lane. And the other thing that I've learned from speaking to actual learners who've taken actual driving tests, Donnie's taken 2, Charlie taken 1 and passed on her first go. Thought I could make that, I couldn't. I'm gonna drive it properly. The examiners here are really nice. The examiners here are lovely. They're really nice. You can talk to the examiners, they'll let you know that they're not gonna talk to you, they'll let you know that they're trying to help you concentrate when they're not talking. Like the examiners here, just from everybody, what everybody says are lovely. Like talk to them, they're gonna be on your side. They're going to want you to pass. They're going to be so supportive. I've not heard one single person say anything bad about an examiner over here. Left on the roundabout. Second exit. Cancel that signal, Francis. This is not hard, but it's the first exit. Oh, that map is doing my head in. But we're driving along the docks. This is nice. Wow, this is really nice. I'm into it. I'm into it a lot. There's nothing really tricky on this route. There's a lot to look at. Don't be distracted by the scenery. I'm guessing if you're taking a test here, you're from here, so absolutely fine. You'll have seen all of this before. I'm a tourist, clearly. I'm a tourist in your area, so it's very interesting. Mirror signal, position, speed, sliding into first gear before I get to the line. Mirror, check, 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 and I don't need to stop because there's nothing coming. What I will say is potentially this isn't as nice as Newtonards. So far, I haven't got the whole way round, but so far I think Newtonards is winning. Newtonards, I said it, if you didn't watch that video, I'll link it below, I'll link it at the end. Newtonards is the nicest test centre. It's incredible there. It's actually incredible. Here's something that might happen to you on your driving test. I'm doing 30 on this road. 29, it says 29 on the car. The sat-nav says 26, but sat-nav speed is always different to your car speed. There's a car really close up behind me. I feel like they're trying to put me under pressure to go faster. I'm not gonna. I just be confident that you're doing the right thing and you're keeping them safe by keeping them at the correct speed limit. I know for a fact this car in front is on a driving test right now, so I hope we take a slightly different route to them, but at least we know we are on a driving test route because I saw them leave the test centre. They're on a driving test. Good luck if this is your driving test with NI Driving School. Turning right at the end. Oh, tricky. They've got this perfectly right, but recognise that you're on a one-way road and you need to use the right lane to turn right. I mean, those massive arrows should give you a clue, but don't notice it at the last minute, too late. Ooh, 40 miles an hour, and now we're coming down to the coast. This is where Larne Driving Test Centre is going to come into its own. This is where it's going to get spicy. This is where it's going to get interesting. This is where we're going to pick up some points for area. Difficulty, I'm not sure, but the area score is going to go up hard here. 36, 37, 38. Remember, the sat-nav speed that you're looking at is different to what it says on the car. Oh my days. This is the coastal route. It goes from Belfast all the way around the north of Northern Ireland. Oh my God. This is your driving test. Are you joking? Oh, Larne just got infinite area points. If you don't know, I drive around driving test centres all over and rate them so that if your driving test is there, you can kind of have a glimpse and see what it's like to learn to drive there, to pass a driving test there. This, England could never. So if you've been watching the series, you know that Southend is my favourite driving test centre. I'm telling you now, Southend's not got anything on this. Damn it. Also, Newtonards, both test centres that I've checked out on my own in Northern Ireland, way better than any test centre that I've been to in England. This is insane. The tricks that you're going to have here, the tricky bits, is going to be under pressure from the car behind. This is why this is going to be tricky, because I guess people drive this coastal road as a holiday. They want to blast down it, 40 miles an hour. I'm okay, right now, I'm not comfortable at 40. My road's really narrow. Going at 35, 36 on the car sat nav. Maybe I can increase the speed now, but I especially if I'm on my driving test, I don't want to go 35, 36 miles an hour. I don't want to go up to 40, that's insane. So don't feel under pressure from anybody else to go anything more than what you're comfortable. This is mad. This is a famous little spot. The Black Arch, damn, do you know what? I had no clue what was on this driving test route. I've looked up this coastal route before, and I know that this is a spot. I can't remember the name. I'm going to insert it here in the edit. But that is insane. This is on your driving test over here. Residents of Larne, you are very lucky. Northern Ireland, you are very lucky. It's actually so mad. We're going to turn left soon and leave this. But I guess the same as when I was in Southend, the same as when I was in Newtonards, It's very distracting. If it's your driving test though, you know your license is on the line and you're not going to be looking at any of this. But the benefit you're going to have is it's really calming. Imagine driving through a city centre, really grey, really dull, loads of traffic, bustling and hustling around. Mirror, signal. That's pressure, and it's not the calming vibe. This is, what the hell? Absolutely outrageous. Do you notice what I did there on that one? I didn't know what was around this bend. So I wanted to slow down to quite a slow speed to round the corner, and you should do the same. If you're not sure what's coming, if you're not sure what's around that bend, big walls, you can't see round it, slow right down so that you're ready for anything. So that whatever comes around that bend, you're at a speed where you can deal with it. Oh, Larne, there's a field of sheep. What are you doing to me? So nice here. Can't believe it. I wish I was a driving instructor here. It's ridiculous. I wish I could teach people to drive in Northern Ireland. This place is outrageous. The whole place here is just ridiculous. It's so nice. Calm down. 40 miles an hour. Even the speed limits are great. Like where I'm from in London, everywhere, every single road, think of a road. Like think of a kind of road. Yeah, it's 20 miles an hour. All of it, the whole thing, so boring. And how do you teach people to drive properly if you can only go at 20 miles an hour? You can't. You actually can't. Facts, you can't. You can't teach people to drive at 20 miles an hour because then they get out of London and then they can't drive at 30, 40. These roads, you would scare the pants off someone who's only learnt to drive off London roads. But here you can really prepare people for everything that they're going to experience. This is so nice. Can't cope. We're going to turn right at the lights, waiting until I've passed that entrance mirror. Signal. I'm not going to consider that though. Yes, there's a garage entrance. I don't want to signal too late. And it's not a prominent entrance. I've weighed up the balance there. I've got a filter arrow, so I can just go. I'm weighing up the balance, and this is how you can work it out too. Think of it like a scales. On one side of the scales, you've got helpful. On the other side, you've got misleading. Your signals have to be more helpful than misleading. So as I was coming down to that, I thought if I signal right before the petrol station, misleading. If I signal right after the petrol station, before the garage, helpful. More helpful than misleading. That's what you're gonna do too, if you're not sure. Right, okay, we're turning right, Donaghy's Lane. Mirror, signal, DVA testing centre. Let's go. This is the end of the route. I said this is probably some of the best advice I've ever given, and people come to me and say that piece of advice stuck with me in my driving test. When you're coming to the end, now you know, I can see signs for DVA. I'm thinking about the mistakes I made. I'm thinking about what I could have done better. I'm thinking about the examiner, but I'm not thinking about the driving. You need to be thinking about the driving. Make sure that you stay focused. Stay focused till the very last second, till the examiner's asked you to turn the engine off. That's when you can start to chill. That's when you can start to say, do you know what, I've got this. Do you know what, I've made it work. Or thinking about mistakes. The examiner's going to go through all of the mistakes with you at the end anyway, so there's no point wasting time before then, just going through the mistakes in your head. Make sure that you are focused 100% until the very last minute. Have me in your head saying, focus, focus, focus. It's not over yet. Focus, focus, focus. I'm going to actually pull up in here, in this gap here. Larne, that was a dream. Just to have a glimpse of the coastal road. One day I'm going to drive the whole thing and might do it on the channel. That was incredible. England driving test centres could never. I can't wait to come back to Northern Ireland and help you guys out more with your driving tests. If you disagree with all of the driving instructors that have told me that Larne is the nicest driving test centre and you've got a better one in your head, let me know in the comments. If you've got a driving test here in Northern Ireland, check out this driving test tips playlist. I'll definitely be back to fill it up with more hints and tips. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, peace, bye.